just a few hours, the vice presidential candidates will touch down in St. Louis, Missouri, and then it is showtime, ladies and gentlemen. At 9 Eastern tonight, the primetime debate is live. I want to bring in McCain Senior Policy Advisor Nancy Pfotenhauer to talk about it. Nancy, good to see you. So, listen, John McCain appeared on our Morning Joe today talking to Joe Scarborough and his team, and he reminded voters that it's the captain that runs the ship. We know that his name is at the top of the ticket, but all eyes will be on Sarah Palin tonight. What does she need to do to be successful?
You know what, Tamron? I think she needs to set out in her own voice a clear vision that a McCain-Palin ticket brings to this country and the challenging times that we face right now. And she needs to convey, as she has in every one-on-one engagement that I think she's had with American voters, the fact that she understands what they're up against and that her life story is different. It's really different from Joe Biden's. It's much more like theirs. Yes. And, and she understands that, working mom, handful of kids, struggling to make ends meet. And she really gets that. And the American people will respond to her because of it. Well,
Nancy, and we saw at the convention, she was able to do that, talk about, her life as a hockey mom.
Right.
And that's in that setting. We well know that she can't end every question tonight with, and I'm a hockey mom or something like that to bring people in. So I want to talk to you about the substance and having command of the facts. Let's play a little bit of that Katie Couric interview. I know you've seen it before. Let's play it when she was asked about Supreme Court decisions that she did not agree with.
What other Supreme Court decisions do you disagree with?
Well, let's see. There's, of course, in the great history of America, there have been rulings that there's never going to be absolute consensus by every American.
Can you think of any?
Well, I would think of any, again, that could best be dealt with on a more local level.
So, Nancy, we know how hindsight feels. You think to yourself, why didn't I say this, or I could have said that. If she has a moment like that tonight, obviously the critics out there will pounce on that. So how do you avoid that? How does she prove that she's got a command of the facts, a knowledge of where Senator McCain, the captain of the ticket, stands?
Well, knowing Senator McCain's policies and his vision for how we should move forward is very different from answering a series of, frankly, several gotcha questions. I mean, I'm sorry, I've been in public policy for 20 years, and unless you're a Washington attorney, it's not easy to roll Supreme Court cases trippingly off the tongue. I mean, really. And so I think she's being held to a different standard.
Well,
that's okay.
Nancy, what about the question about what papers she reads? I mean, and I think a lot of people would agree with you on that point about the Supreme Court, and some would disagree. But she was also asked in that same series of interviews about what papers that she would, read to stay up to date on what was happening, and she did not give a specific paper. Maybe, of course, I'm sure reads them and she knows, but she didn't name a specific. So what I'm talking about is, can she be vague and be successful? Can she help your team by being vague like that?
I think she's at her best when she's clear about, she's clear about who she is, and she's clear about describing the path that needs to be followed moving forward, and frankly, clear about the distinctions between the Obama path and John McCain's path, because these differences are stark, and they couldn't be more so on the economy and in foreign policy. And those are the two most crucial challenges that we've got right now facing the country. So I think that the stronger and more clear that she is, the more persuasive she will be to the American people.
And Nancy, we know that she, again, back to that speech that blew so many people away at the convention, she was strong and she was confident, and her numbers were great. September 7th, favorability 58%, unfavorable number 28%. Now, her unfavorable number is at 40%. Will we see her be quick, sharp, and an aggressor tonight?
Well, I think you'll see Governor Palin be much more herself than she has been, but she's also had to withstand, frankly, a virulent barrage of attacks and hostility that I think even objective observers say they haven't witnessed in this town or in a presidential election in recent history. And she's withstood that fairly well. I mean, she still brings out record number of crowds. She still has brought people into the process that haven't been in it before. We've got, she's appealing not just to other women, but also to younger American voters, if you will, who are now showing up at events that they've never even cared before. So I think she's got tremendous appeal, and part of it is that people are responding to who she is, and that just needs to come through clearly tonight. And I'm confident that it will.
Well, Pat Buchanan says, let Sarah Palin be Sarah Palin, and we'll see what happens then. Thank you very much, Nancy.
Thanks,
and you
Tamron.
can watch the debate live on MSNBC, and in our next half hour, I'm going to speak with Bill Burton, National Press Secretary for the Barack Obama campaign. about what Joe Biden needs to do. How does he avoid being categorized as a gaffe machine? What he needs to do to capitalize